Hi there. I just wanted to make a video talking about an EP that I produced recently. The EP's title is Water, and it's by my friend Teagan Simpson. It all started about 8 months ago when Teagan and I were playing a couple of songs that we'd written to one another, and I said to her, "Oh, have you ever thought about having someone record them and produce them? Is that something that you'd be interested in?" And I don't know that she was all that interested at the time, or at least she didn't leap on the opportunity at first. But I said, "Oh, look, if you ever are thinking about it, definitely have my name on the list of people to produce it." And I think that idea sat with her for a bit, and maybe a month or two later, probably less actually, I said to her, "Oh, have you thought at all about that offer for me to produce some of your songs?" And she said, "Yeah, I've got a couple of songs that I think would be good." So we got together in one of the rehearsal rooms at uni with one of the baby grand pianos, and she must have played me maybe about 10 songs. And we went through and picked them out. I wrote them all down and wrote the bits that I liked and perhaps didn't like about the different songs. And we picked the songs out that we wanted. And there was a couple of them that we thought, oh, maybe we can produce it a little bit differently. I think one of them, Sparkle, I'm going to say. Yeah, Sparkle was originally on guitar. But as we only had the piano there, I heard it originally on piano. And I think we ended up saying, well, I think piano actually works a lot better. So the final version that you'll hear on the EP is on piano. So we worked out that they were the songs we were going to do. We started to look at when we could try and do them. Now, Teagan was doing some charts, finalising the compositions throughout the uni break. And then as I went back to uni, we worked out that there was only one time a week that we'd be able to work together, and that was, I think, Wednesday afternoons. So it was sort of about 4 hours most Wednesday afternoons for a couple of months that we would get together, record, rewrite parts, add in bass parts, add in strings, all that sort of thing. I took a couple of weeks off working on the EP to finish my assessments for uni. Then I got stuck right in, mixed it, mastered it, and that is the final EP, which is released on January 15th, 2018. The first song is called Ice Cold Heater. I'm not going to go at all into song meanings. That's sort of something for Teagan to do. If you're interested in her doing that, definitely let her know. But as far as the production goes, it's a really cool rock rap song, I suppose, with a really eerie introduction to it. It's got these sort of harmony vocal lines in the beginning that surround an acoustic guitar, which are actually her voice reversed. And then there's, in the leading up to the very first note of the song, there's this reverse reverb in it, which is pretty cool. And then it goes into, we've got this drum loop going around. I know at first Teagan was thinking of actually singing a melody for the verses, and then in the final production, it's actually basically a rapped verse, which is pretty cool. The choruses are actually really interesting in that the verses are very dry sounding, there's no reverb or anything, and then the choruses just sound really big. I used this really interesting stereo delay on them, which I think really added to the sound, and you can particularly hear that just at the end of the final chorus, where it sort of goes out to just vocals and an acoustic guitar strum. But yeah, I think Ice Cold Heater is the really big sounding song. It'd be the single off the album if you had to choose one. And yeah, it's definitely one of the most energetic songs on the EP.
I said I wouldn't ever try to treat you like you never meant a thing, just like the others, but I couldn't keep my promise. I threw you out like garbage, then I tried to take it back, but I didn't have a clue how to pull the knife from your back. Now you're the one that's smiling and your life is so on track, and the only colours I can see in the rainbow are grey and black.
After Ice Cold Heater comes Butterflies, which is a lovely, delicate song, which I think we were able to capture quite well in the production of. It was probably one of the easiest ones to turn from its original state into the finally produced work. It was just very easy to get from A to B. I think one of the more creative choices that I made producing it to really add a bit of contrast into the choruses was the ambient acoustic electric guitar part that we recorded in there, which I think really helps it along. Third on the EP is a song called Sparkle, which I understand is the first song that Teagan ever wrote. Double check that with her, and hopefully she makes a video and probably will correct me on it. But this one, as I said earlier in the video, was originally written on guitar. And when she originally played it to me on piano, she said, "Oh, just pretend it's on guitar," you know, that sort of thing. And it was one of the songs that you didn't need to imagine that there was any sort of extra instruments added to it. That they all sort of seemed as though they were already there. And, you know, I just heard these beautiful sort of playful string parts weaving in and out during the choruses, which is, this song more than any is what I spent a lot of time writing the string parts so that they would do this weaving thing, so that some of them are playing an upward movement and some of them moving down a bit. So it's not just a static left and right doing the same thing. But one of the more difficult bits to get right in the production of this is I think it's the bit right at the end of the bridge. There's this section where there's a series of sort of stabs, the dun 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 dun, right up before, I think it's the second last chorus that it precedes. And I really wanted this strong sort of oomph going into the last stab of the cello in that series of stabs. The problem with which is that I'm using a sampler called Contact, and the particular samples I was using were from Spitfire Audio, the artisan cello. And the way that most people record samples is they have, when you hit one note at a single velocity, there's sometimes a couple of different samples which will trigger on that so that it seems more realistic. So I had to spend quite a bit of time manually making sure that I got exactly the sample that I wanted for that final note, but I think it really paid off in the end. And I'm really happy with the way that this song moves between a lot of tension and then a very, very cool sort of bridge. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best songs.
When you sparkle like rain on a cold windy day, when I hear your name.
The fourth song on the EP is called Just Can't Stay. And this one is probably my favorite song, not because I get to sing on it, but that's pretty cool too, but because I really like the song, particularly lyrically. Coming in from a bit of a lyrical analysis point of view, the bridge that I get to sing sort of acts as a response or a conversation between the main vocals from Teagan. And I think that works really well in the song to add an extra dimension to it.
Oh, I just can't stay. I just can't stay. I just can't stay. I just can't stay.
The fifth and final song on the album is called Take the Blame. And this is a really cool one. When I first heard it, it gave me really sort of Nina Simone vibes. And I'm feeling good. The idea was sort of not to make it uncohesive as an EP, but to produce it in such a way that it sounded like all the members of the band were there in the room for that song. And so there's the little bit of chat at the end and the turning off the tape machine, which is my tape machine right there. I'll show you that in a B-roll shot. I think it worked quite well, and we had a little bit of a brass sort of section happening, I think towards the end in that song, which was I think a real nod to Feeling Good. And I think because of that production sort of influence, that song is a particularly special song on the EP to me at least. And yeah, that's the final song. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about the EP. It should be out pretty soon after I release this video, depending on how quickly I edit it. But definitely get onto it. It'll be on streaming services, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, you know, whatever you can think of, it's probably there. There's also going to be a Bandcamp listing of the EP. That's just a different website if you're not familiar with it. You can download the EP in very high quality there, which isn't available on places like iTunes or Spotify. And also more of the money from your purchase goes to Teagan, and I for one think it's good to support independent artists, so I recommend buying it through there if you can. I really hope you enjoy the EP. It's been a lot of hard work for both of us, and I think we're both really excited to see it finally released.
Goodbye, goodbye. Ooh, oh, I know I let you go, but I really didn't know.
This is the card that Teagan gave me for making the EP, and I think it's really cute. There's like little mice on it and stuff, so I'm pretty happy with that. The fifth and final track of the album is called Take the Blame. Got it in the end, a bit of better. The war is over if you want it. The war is over. What else is in the song? I can't remember how the song goes. And a final fun fact, this one specifically regarding Ice Cold Heater, is that I beatbox on it.
Goodbye, goodbye. Ooh, oh, I know I let you go, but I really didn't know how much I needed you, my ice cold heater.